are Locked On Seminoles, your daily podcast on the Florida State Seminoles, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of Locked On Seminoles. Today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline, of course, our friends over there who bring you the lines for our game, where NC State is currently a 3.5-point favorite with an over-under of 50.5. You know what I like in that game, and I'll get more into that. But everybody, I have Drake here. Drake, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm glad to be back for another walkthrough here. We're talking about basically the walkthrough, folks. That's our new name for our Saturday episodes. Dave came up with it yesterday where we basically walked through some last-minute details, short form to 10, 12 minutes, talk about how FSU can win this game and who we believe should be X factors in each side of the ball. So, Dave, since this is your baby, I'm giving the ball to you. You lead us off.
Okay, so I've watched enough, gone back and watched enough like condensed NC State games. I've watched enough out of Florida State, trying to wrap my head around the fact that NC State started the season ranked really highly. And Devin Leary obviously had a lot of hype around him. Florida State didn't have a lot of hype around it. We were going hoping for a bowl game this year. That was the season. That's not the season anymore. It had to be redefined. That doesn't suddenly mean that, we're some playoff contending team, but we're a good team. And NC State, I think, is a good team. I don't think they're any better than a good team. I think we're similarly matched. We had Kenton on, and he said he didn't think Florida State was more talented than NC State. Respectfully, I'll disagree. In terms of pure talent, in terms of execution, and where the programs are at, I think NC State's football team is probably a little ahead of Florida State's. But you give me two somewhat evenly matched teams, and between the two, I'm going to take the significantly better quarterback, because that's what Jordan Travis is in this game. Devin Leary is the 77th rated quarterback per QBR. I'm not even going to talk about PFF since a lot of people don't like it, but QBR is pretty universally recognized, and he's 77th. That's not good. He's been bad. Their defense is good. Their offense is not. Ours is. Game on.
No, I mean, I do agree with the Devin Leary thing. With Devin Leary, I mean, Kenton Gibbs said it yesterday. He hasn't been the same since last season. Mm-hmm. Now, if you do look over statistically wise, he is 10 for 3 overall. But the one thing you have to look at too as well is whether or not where his stats come from.
Yeah.
If you look at the games overall, what did we say about Wake Forest last week when they're heading to our game? What was the one thing we said real quick?
We said a lot of things. I said we were going to beat the hell out of them.
Yeah, but the one thing we did say is that they didn't play really much anybody, right? And
right.
If you look at NC State's record, before playing Clemson, they played an ECU team, Charleston Southern, Texas Tech, and in UConn. Devin Leary has 10 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. He has 9 of those touchdowns against ECU with 1, was the game that he played, probably his worst game ever, 4 against Charleston Southern, and 4 against UConn. Against Texas Tech, which has a very, very decent defense, he was 15-23, which saw completion percentage, 121 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Against Clemson, where he actually had his best game overall, so you've seen how he has improved. He was 28-47 for a 59% completion percentage, 245 yards, 1 touchdown to 1 pick with a QBR of 58.6. So overall, he has been improving, but he has been a very average quarterback overall. Like I think that was something you were saying that you and Max were talking about yesterday, where he's a very average QB in an offense that needs him to be more than an average QB. And it doesn't help when his best weapon, Emeka Emezi, is now gone. He has to rely on Thayer Thomas, where Thayer Thomas is the Glee Club president that torched us 2 years ago. But this year, he's more of the check down option. And when your leading receiver is one of them is your running backs, that kind of leads you to believe that you're going to be basically no explicit plays.
Yeah, NC State's wide receiver core is quite bad. You can go back and listen to the interview with Kenton, and he'll tell you more about his thoughts on the wide receiver core. He's obviously a lot higher on it, but objectively, not good. Thayer Thomas, when Thayer Thomas is your best option, much like how when Xavier Restrepo is Miami's best option, you're not in good shape. And this year's edition of Devin Leary needs wide receivers who can bail him out. That hasn't been the case, and it's not going to be the case against us. So you should confidently be able to look forward to this game, knowing that we have a good defense, notwithstanding injuries, and that their wide receivers should not just be running open all over the field, and they shouldn't be running for yards after the catch. Um, just Devin Leary hasn't been the guy to lead them to where they need to be on the field and to put the ball where it needs to be. And those receivers haven't made much of their opportunities, anyways. So this is an exciting opportunity for FSU's defense to step up because everybody's expecting the NC State defense to be what it is, a top 15, 20 defense in the country. And it's going to be tougher to score points on them, but it's not impossible. And you only have to score so many points in this game because with NC State's offense being in the state it's in, I don't expect them to score a whole lot. So this doesn't have to be one of those games where every drive has to end in points. Don't expect field goals in this game. I'll get to that in my prediction, my score prediction. But don't expect field goals. You're gonna have to score touchdowns in this game. Not because you're gonna have to outscore them in a track meet, but because that's where we are, and it's a weird place to be as an offense, but that's okay because that's what Jordan Travis has shown he can do.
I mean, one of the key things that we are going to have to point out is I don't believe Robert Scott's going to play this game.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. Sorry. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't actually see him play until Miami because of lower leg injury.
Yeah.
I mean, we know Fabian Lovett also on the defensive side of the ball is probably out to probably that Miami game as well. Jared Verse, though, is apparently he should be a full go.
Yep.
Amari Gaynor is going to be on a limited pitch count. And to me, in Tatum Bethune, he's still dealing with the arm injury. You saw how he struggled immensely against Wake Forest. And for me, the offensive line is going to be the true indicator of this team because we did see last week at the both tackle spots, it really, really limited this offense. And Jordan, he didn't play that great, but also if you compare it to the rest of the season, he played actually a pretty decent game overall when it comes to if you look at the raw stats. To me, it's going to more look to be the offense let you down last week. That's, I mean, basically when you look at it overall. But the defense also can't be spotting these 21 to 28 point leads. They really, really can't. And that's the one main thing that I always feel with Adam Fuller is that his adjustments, I said this last week through the walkthrough, I don't want to see, there's immensely great adjustment second half. That's fine. You can do that, but you don't need to give up 21 plus points to an offense. And if he does that in this first half against this NC State offense that we've discussed basically is struggling, that's going to be a very raw indicator of where we are as a team. And to me, you need to set the tone early. You need to assert your dominance early. So overall, just simply stop the bleeding. This offense isn't that great for NC State. So do not spot them this 21 plus point lead. And that's kind of where I'm looking forward to see how this team matches up because I'm a lot higher on NC State's defense than you are, especially that defensive line, that linebacking play overall. To me, that's a very good defense against an offensive line that's very hurt. So to me, you're right. Points will be coming at a premium. And that's where I'm saying, like with the defense, do not do these mistakes. Don't do this bend, but don't break. Just don't break. Don't even bend that much. This offense is not enough for you to make you bend to begin with.
Yeah, just one of the keys I'm going to be looking for from our defense in this game is something that plagued us against Wake Forest situations. I want to see what we're doing on third down. I want to see creativity, and I want to see receivers with DBs in their faces. I don't want to see any more off coverage on 3rd and 3s. And if we can get them off the field on enough third downs, this game gets very winnable. So it really does. So in the spirit of winnable, Drake, it's time. It's that time. Give us.
We're bringing players first, or we're doing predictions first?
Give me one player on each side of the ball, like you like to say to me, that you're looking out for in this game.
Defensively, I need Robert Cooper. I'm saying Robert Cooper primarily. We saw the defensive line against Wake Forest basically struggled to get any sort of preparation. I said on Locked on ACC, Sam Hartman was able to order a pizza, file his taxes, collect some checks, go through his mail the entire time last weekend. Yeah. They probably tell you the same damn thing. And I'm pretty sure Coach Odell Higgins and John Papuchis are saying the same thing to the defensive line. So to me, I need to see more push up front, especially against an offensive line for NC State that you saw. I mean, they struggled against Clemson, but everyone's going to struggle against Clemson. They literally have the Avengers on the defensive line. But to me, at least provide Devin Leary some pressure because he seems to be a lot more not accident prone or mistake prone, but he does seem a little more flustered back there in the pocket. And then on the offensive side of the ball, I'm going to say Malik McClain one more time. I do believe that this is a game where we're going to need our bigger bodied receivers to actually showcase where they're actually overall going to be at. And to me, they are missing one of their starting corners actually for the first half of this game. So, and it's going to be Aiden White, but that means Aiden White's going to be covering Johnny Wilson. We'll get the other big 6'4" guy. So to me, that's how we're going to win this game is through the air. So give me Malik McLean on the offensive side of the ball, and then also give me Robert Cooper on the defensive side of the ball.
It's funny. I feel a little differently on the offense. I'm for the first time this season, I'm going to say Trayshawn Ward. NC State's run defense is more susceptible than its pass defense. And I think the expectation game plan wise is for us to go out there and try to throw the ball to our big, tall receivers on the outside. And guess what? I think we're gonna. But I also think that's going to open up running lanes. And I
That's a fair
think
point.
so. I'm Trayshawn Ward has impressed me this year. He continues to impress me every game. I mean,
He's so good.
he
He's
really
so
is so good. The fact that he used to be a walk-on is just incredible to me.
It's a
So
crime against any school that did not give a scholarship, including us, which
it-
we
it-
eventually did. We
right.
rectified that wrong, but damn, I would be so salty if I was him.
Thankfully we did, and I'm expecting a big game on him. On defense, give me Jammie Robinson in this game. He hasn't he hasn't had one of those games where he just took over or just was like the clear-cut captain of the defense like he was last year. He's made some plays this year. I I think NC State is going to try to get Devin Leary going in this game, and one quick way to shut that down would be with an interception or a big hit over over the middle to a receiver that makes Devin Leary hesitate to throw those balls. I'm looking for Jammie Robinson, if he's the captain of this defense and of the secondary, to step up, make some plays, and put their passing game back where it is, which is in the ground.
No, I mean I completely understand like setting it up. I think that's basically how we're going to win this game overall. And to me, this game I'm kind of flip flop back and forth with the predictions. But I'm going to let you go first because I know you'll be a little more of a hotter take. So I can hopefully I'm not trying to rain down your parade. I kind of want to see where your head's at with the score.
Okay, so here's my score: 32-23. We get to 32 with 5 touchdowns and 3 missed extra points. You can bank on that. 60% of the missed extra points, easy. 23. That's a couple touchdowns and 3 field goals, which at this point, after watching enough NC State football and looking through their numbers, I don't think they're going to score more than that on this defense unless we just have a ridiculously bad day. This defense has been but not broken. It doesn't let things behind them. It's hard to score on a defense like that when your offense is as inefficient as the Wolfpack.
I'm going to say 24-21 NC State. And I'm saying that mainly because I've been flip-flopping back and forth overall to see. And this is a game where I think that we can win. But since we're doing this right now, I will probably change my opinion 3 to 4 times throughout this day. I've been flip-flopping with that same score, just a different outcome. And it's primarily because I think that the health along the offensive line against NC State front is going to be tricky. But I will say, and I will reserve, basically this opinion that I do think this is a game that FSU sneakily can win. And this is one of those games where everyone else is banking on you right now to lose. And in my personal opinion, this is a game that FSU can steal. When was the last time we stole the game from somebody? I'm not counting LSU because I predicted a win against LSU. I don't count UNC because Mac Brown will never beat us because he is a true Nola heart, and I love that man to death. But overall, to me, this is a game where it'll come down to health. Injuries might show them case themselves, but to me, it's a team that we're going to find out how tough this team really is against a very, very good and very, very quality NC State defense that, like Ken said, is really good at all levels. It's not because of one specific player. It's because the entire team as a whole is cohesive as a unit, as the show would say.
Yeah, that's fair. Objectively, if you're going to give me 2 teams that are tough to pick between because they're similarly rated or talented, again, and I used to do this in my betting days, I'm just going to take the team with the better quarterback. And so far this year, one of the 2 teams has a markedly better quarterback than the other. That team is Florida State. And I'm going to continue to stay positive on this team unless and until I'm given a clear reason not to. And if it doesn't happen, guess what? Your support group's going to be here for you. We here at Locked On Seminoles are going to support you through this if it doesn't go well, but that doesn't matter because it's going to go well. Thank you to our friends again at Bet Online. You should go on there and look at that FSU money line. It looks so juicy.
Plus 141.
I love that. Love that. All right, guys, it's game day. Get out there and watch some football. Thank you for joining us. Again, that was Drake. This was Dave. Find us on YouTube. Find us on all of the podcast platforms. We love you. Thank you for listening. And this was another episode of Locked On Seminoles.
Take care, everybody. And I changed my mind. Florida State 24, NC State 21.
Go ahead.